Oh, Metroid, 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 Samus, Samus, Samus. Where the heck are you? So, I am recording this video the day after the Nintendo Direct partner presentation for July 31st of 2025, which I think most of us know was pretty divisive because most folks didn't seem to like it. No one really wanted a partner showcase. We were all hoping for a traditional wider Nintendo Direct. We're waiting for updates on a lot of first-party things from Nintendo, the biggest being Metroid Prime 4, which is the focus of this video. And that's not what we got. We got the third-party partner presentation. Some people liked it, which is fine. A lot of people didn't like it. I myself didn't watch it because I knew I wasn't really going to get anything very exciting from it. And I'm glad that I chose to sleep in before work and not wake up early to watch it, because I'm not mad that it wasn't for me, but it wasn't for me. There really wasn't anything that got me excited from what I saw. And of course, as I discussed the day that that was announced, the big takeaway for me, once I saw that the Nintendo Direct we'd been waiting for was just a partner showcase, was that we're still not going to get an update on Metroid Prime 4. Once I saw it wasn't a regular Direct and it was a third-party show, it's like, well, there goes the date for Metroid that we've all been waiting for and that I wake up every single morning hoping to learn. We're not going to get the date. We still are being forced to wait and wait and wait for information and updates and an actual release date on Metroid Prime 4. We're getting to the point where even I have been starting to be concerned that the game might not release in 2025. Nintendo has maintained that it's a 2025 game ever since they finally revealed it last year for the Switch 1, and even up through this year. And in the April 2nd Direct, it's like, hey, this thing is still 2025. Okay, that's what we all want to hear. Very exciting. But we're getting to the end of the year. I shouldn't say that. We're just past halfway. We still have some time to go. But the runway is getting shorter, man, for being able to release this game in 2025. And so with the partner showcase announced and knowing we still are going to have to wait for the date for Metroid, yeah, I've been starting to get nervous that the game won't release this year. And so that's what I wanted to talk about today, is what is going on with the release date for Metroid. It's been very frustrating being a Metroid and a Metroid Prime fan for the last 8 years, because this game remained a mystery for so long. I mean, we all know the turbulent behind-the-scenes development around this game. It was announced in 2017, and then a year and a half later, they delayed it, scrapped it, rebooted it, gave it back to Retro Studios, and told us, hey, we have to make the game brand new from scratch all over again, so it's going to take that much longer to see it. Then it was another 5 or 6 years of waiting, and you guys know, if you've been following me, I've been covering Metroid Prime 4 throughout the whole 8 years of mystery until last year when we finally got the game re-revealed. So exciting, it looks amazing. I've made a ton of videos about all that footage that we saw. And then we got confirmation this year that yes, there is going to be a next generation version of the game. It is cross-generation. There is a Switch 2 edition of the game, and it will be taking significant advantage of the power of the Switch 2, which just has me jumping for freaking joy, man. Let me tell you, that 4K version, that better looking Switch 2 edition, oh my god, I cannot wait. But still, they've made us wait for the release date. So why is this a game? Why is Metroid Prime 4, of all games, my favorite franchise, the sequel to my favorite video game of all time, the original Metroid Prime, why is this the game and the franchise that we have to suffer through for so long, for 8 years, just to get anything about this game? I'm like, will I ever put my hands on a controller and play Metroid Prime 4, man? It's crazy. Now, I also don't want to overlook, as a Metroid fan, that we got Metroid Dread. That is such a monumental achievement in the entire history of video games for a game that long in development, that was scrapped in like 2007, and rumors go back to the 2000s. To have that game eventually get made and released and be amazing is such a huge win. So the Metroid franchise has had some wins in the time between the reveal of Metroid Prime 4 and where we are today in 2025. Metroid Dread is the most incredible thing ever. Metroid Prime Remastered, obviously so wonderful. And that's my favorite game of all time, so I couldn't be happier with that release. But when we look at Metroid Prime and we look at Prime 4, like, what is going on? Why did this game and this franchise have to be the one that has gone through this 8 years of development hell? It almost feels like punishment for those of us that are strong Metroid fans to have to endure this scenario. I think I have to chalk it up to something I've said in the past, and I want to double down on this. I think that it all stems from Nintendo really committing to making the best game possible, which at the end of the day, 8 or 9 year wait or not, is the right call. And I support that philosophy. And I'm just assuming that's the philosophy. I feel pretty good that I'm right when I say that, but this is just my assumption and me reading it from, the outside looking in as a fan. It just feels like everything that happened with scrapping the original version and moving on from that old team and giving it back to Retro and starting the game from scratch again, moving it to the Switch 2 for a cross-generation release, all of these to me have only signaled that Nintendo knows we have to deliver with this game. Metroid has never been the biggest seller. We all know that. Its best games only sell between 1 and 3 million copies, right? So it's not a huge seller. But it's one of the oldest franchises Nintendo has. It's one of the oldest franchises in video games today. And it's also synonymous with quality. Sure, there's 1 or 2 games that maybe not everyone has loved the same, but in general, it is a series that most people know every game that releases, most games that release, is very high quality. So, coming off of, a divisive period where a lot of people didn't like Metroid Other M. Metroid Prime Federation Force was a weird thing. We got Samus Returns. That was another game I feel almost silly for leaving out, because that also was revealed and released the same year that Metroid Prime 4 was announced. They came off of this decade where Other M and Federation Force really kind of tarnished the name of Metroid. Even though I like both games and I really like Other M, I will always defend it, you guys know. They're divisive, and a lot of people hate those games, and it did kind of hurt, I think, the perception in a lot of ways. So I feel that with Metroid Prime 4, they knew that this game had to deliver, and they want to release a game that really not only continues the legacy of quality and keeps people invested in the Metroid franchise, and a game that Nintendo can be proud of. I think that's part of it as well. I think they're also trying to make sure the game has the best chance to maybe change the sales fortunes of the franchise. And I think they want a game that can bust through that 5 million units sold kind of cap or barometer. I feel like Nintendo wants to say we can make Metroid a bigger selling franchise than it's traditionally been. Metroid Dread started that by becoming the best selling game in the franchise ever, which is great. The first and only one to cross the 3 million units sold threshold, so that's fantastic. But I think Nintendo wants it to do even better numbers than that. And so that's why I think this game, and everything we've had to endure, waiting for information and trailers and gameplay and release dates and all that stuff we're still at today, the day after this partner presentation showcase, it to me only shows me that Nintendo knows we have to deliver with this game. We don't care how long it takes. The people will wait for it, and when it releases, it will be the best it could possibly be. So, with all of that behind me, to actually talk about the release date a little bit more, I obviously had to get some of these thoughts out because I'm trying to talk about the whole scenario at large, not just let's predict a date, because I'm not here to just predict a date. But let's now talk about the dates. As of this morning, Stealth actually on Twitter shared this, and I was glad to see this now kind of being reported. Nintendo gave an update on the status of a lot of their games. They are doubling down and still showing that amongst their first-party software in 2025, Metroid Prime 4 is still one of them, and you can see the image here. We've got the 3 games that have already released this year on top. Kirby DLC is coming this month in August. Pokemon, that has a date in October. And then, of course, Metroid, of these 6 titles, is the only one that can't even have a date. I mean, thank God it still says 2025. But doesn't it feel like a cosmic joke that we look at this and still it's the only one without an official date? It just says 2025. That being said, it's nice to see them double down on on August 1st, right? After the partner presentation, they're still showing us 2025. So what's going on here? As I said earlier, I've been believing 2025 since they told us last year, and throughout the first half of the year so far. It's like, look, you guys, they tell us 2025. I'm going to be optimistic. I'm going to continue to believe it. Some people thought that the game was going to get delayed to 2026, and I was pushing back saying, no way. I even think this game might be made their November game. Maybe Nintendo will give it the big holiday spotlight. And I still believe that that is a possibility. Not a guarantee and not a prediction. Okay, so you got to hear my words when I say that. But a possibility? Yes, I've been defending November as an option. Although most people have been focused on September. And I understand why. And I also think that that's a possibility. So I've been pushing back on the 2026 thing. But again, with the announcement of the partner presentation 2 days ago, I discussed it on a video. It's like, are we seeing signs that Nintendo is going to move this game to 2026? Because at some point we have to start looking at what is the lead time Nintendo wants to give us, the gamers and the Metroid fans, to know here's when we announce the release date and here's when the game will come out. Do they want 2, 3, 5, 6 months time to continue to promote and market the game? I haven't been sure. It's like, how much time do you want, Nintendo? So now we see if they're still committing to 2025, and we've now reached August of this year. When could they release the game? Well, Super Metal Dave on Twitter also made a good point, where he mentioned that Donkey Kong Bonanza was revealed in April of 2025, and then it released in July. That window of time between the reveal of Donkey Kong and the release is like 3 months, 3.5 or so months, right? So a pretty short window of time. We also have to look at Metroid Dread. I've talked about this in the past as well. Metroid Dread only had 4 months, right? And the difference between Metroid Dread, which was announced in June and then released in October, right? So 4 months between the announcement and the release of the game. Metroid Dread, very differently than Metroid Prime 4, was only first shown to us in June, 4 months before the release date. Whereas Metroid Prime 4, and Dave made this point on Twitter as well, Metroid Prime 4 was announced in 2017, okay? So it was announced freaking 8 years ago. But then last year in 2024, they gave us the first footage in a trailer. And we've had other trailers and other glimpses of footage and 17 minutes of Switch 2 Treehouse footage all between 2024 and today. So if Metroid Dread could get away with a reveal, a 4-month reveal to release window, I have now realized and allowed myself to believe that Metroid Prime 4 could get away with announcing the release date this year in August and making it as soon as September or as late as November or December. And so, here, 3 hours into this video, I will make one prediction when it comes to the release date for Metroid Prime 4. I'm going to predict right here and now that in August, the month we are in as of today, Nintendo will officially give us the release date for Metroid Prime 4. Whether or not that's 2025 or 2026, I don't know. Whether it's going to release in September or October or November or December, I don't even know. Like I've said, any month is on the table as far as I'm concerned. But I'm saying that we are going to get the official release date in August of this year. Now, how will they do that? That's a different question. Are they preparing a broader Nintendo Direct that will include first-party games in August? Are they going to ignore the typical September Direct and maybe change things up this year and give us one in August? Maybe. Do they just reveal the date? Some people have talked about this. Would they just do the date on the Nintendo Today app? God, I hope not, man. That would be so lame to me. I mean, at the end of the day, getting the date is more important than how you get it, and that's true. I know that, but like, let's be real, man. We don't want that to happen through the Nintendo Today app. But you know what? Maybe they do that. So, do they do a Nintendo Direct? Maybe. Do they do it in the Nintendo Today app? Maybe. Do they just give us a brand new trailer one day and say, hey, here's a brand new Metroid Prime 4 trailer, and this includes the date? Maybe they do that. Or, as a lot of us have suggested, myself included, maybe they do a Metroid Prime 4 specific Nintendo Direct, and based on the timing of the date and the Direct, maybe they could just say, hey, tomorrow there's a Metroid Prime 4 Direct, and in that Direct, we're going to tell you the date, and maybe the game comes out next month, you know. These are all options on how they could do it in the month of August, but regardless of the how, like I said, I just want to state right here and now that I think they will tell us this month in August of 2025 what exact day we can play this game. And so at this point, I think I've said all I need to say about it right now. It's just been such a crazy scenario, and as a Metroid superfan and someone that I know a lot of you guys come to for discussions and theories and shared fanship of Metroid and Samus, and specifically of Metroid Prime 4, I felt it was important for me to talk about this. Coming off of the partner presentation and the mystery around the release date of the game. And then, like I said, once I saw that Nintendo doubled down and confirmed today that it's still a 2025 title, which I was starting to doubt, I even more so felt it was important for me to talk about it. And so, yeah, I want this release date, man, because not only do I want to know when I can play the game, but I want to know when I can put my freaking PTO in at work, man, because I'm taking a week, maybe 2 weeks. I have a ton of PTO to burn. I'm going to take a bunch of time off, man, so I can just live in the world of Metroid Prime 4, a game I thought impossible until the year of 2017. The sequel to Metroid Prime 3, which I'm replaying right now, which itself was a sequel to my all-time favorite game, Metroid Prime. So I need to know when I can play this game, and I need to know when I can take that time off of work, man, so I can have uninterrupted time experiencing this glorious, glorious achievement that is Metroid Prime 4. So yeah, I think the main takeaway here is I think we're going to get the release date this month in August. How it comes, like I said, I don't know. Maybe it's a Nintendo Direct. I think it's going to happen this year. So these are my thoughts. Please share your own in the comments below. And thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time, hopefully with more information about Metroid Prime 4.